You're well?
I'm very well, thank you, Jeremy.
Peter Clayton behind the camera. We're in the court of public opinion in the garage. I'm Jeremy Cordo. It's getting colder, isn't it? You can really feel winter. Last few days have been really lovely. Nice autumn weather. But when it gets towards the afternoon, where we're recording, it gets pretty chilly. But nevertheless, it's beautiful. It's kind of a Goldilocks time of the year. The trees are all in their autumn colours. No, it's a beautiful time of the year in Adelaide. Wherever you are viewing this, I hope wherever you are, it's not only a great time of the year, but you're having the best time of your life. I was going to... You've got to be so careful. I was going to tell you about the Campbelltown car wash. And then immediately, of course, I thought about the car that I had the incident with last weekend. But nevertheless, this is an electric car story, and I do want to keep you across the number of batteries in electric cars that seem to blow up. This Campbelltown here in South Australia car wash, subjected to a lithium-ion battery car fire, on Wednesday of last week, I think it was. I switched over to the ABC just to see if they were going to cover the story. Of course, they didn't. It just doesn't suit the narrative. That's not to say that electrical fires don't occur in cars. I'm here to tell you that they certainly do or can, but very, very, very infrequently. Not like every other day or every other week. It doesn't matter. I've always thought what you sat down and tweeted or wrote, letter to the editor or something like that. I mean, can these things come back and haunt you? Well, apparently they can. What you have said or written, or tweeted. Because of course these days you don't tweet, do you? But you can't X, can you? Whatever the X people call themselves. X's, I suppose. Whatever you post, all right, in the past, it can be a problem. Well, I'm sure the Governor-General, our new Governor-General, Sam Mostyn, AO, thinks so. Someone has attempted to wipe all her social media accounts, which of course you can never do completely. Clearly her well-documented statements and comments, published in detail in the Australian and the Daily Mail, give us a fascinating insight into this lady. From what I have read, her support, vigorous and vocal support for the yes vote in the past referendum for the Voice must be a problem, because they've all been wiped. She has attacked Australia Day, calls it Invasion Day. This is our new Governor-General. She seems to hold the monarchy in Great Britain generally in contempt. I think just about any of her published remarks should have disqualified her from being considered for the job. The job description, for which is pretty simple, to be the representative of King Charles III. Basically, this would require a certain mindset. You know, the word royalist comes to mind. A liking for pomp and ceremony. A tradition is probably a better way of putting it. Tradition. A conservative would be good. What could be behind Anthony Albanese choosing someone so obviously inappropriate? I mean, I can understand him offering her the job, but I can't understand her accepting the job. Well, why I say I can understand him offering the job because I think he would like to do away with the job altogether. Our Prime Minister has replaced a general, former general in the army, with a controversial Canberran gender climate activist. I don't know. I really don't know. If Albanese ever writes a book, it would be an interesting chapter to read. Bill Hayden, another Republican appointed, had a conversion on the road to Damascus, or whatever they call it. Once appointed, he rethought a lot of his views, and he ended up doing a good job. So, well, maybe you never can tell, as they say. Another music festival has been cancelled. I don't go to music festivals myself. Have you been to one, Pete?
No, I haven't. No.
There have been some famous ones like Woodstock and, you know, I mean, there are, I suppose, good stories and bad stories that come out of those sort of things. But there was a big one called Splendour in the Grass. I don't know what's going on. Once enormously popular, these music festivals were a great opportunity and venue for Australian talent. People used to flock, and even in the pouring rain. I don't know what it is, regulations or insurance, lack of public interest. A bit of a pity, because they were a great and a good employer for young, ambitious people, both in front of and behind the footlights. And certainly, apart from the dangerous pills that they tend to offer the kids at these things, it would be an experience. Splendour in the Grass. Funny name. Then again, you could have a smooch in the cooch, or lust in the dust.
Yeah, I like that one, yeah.
No, it always seems to rain at these festivals.
It does.
How about Passion in the Paspalum? Smooch in the cooch, Passion in the Paspalum, lust in the dust. Anyway. Now, I've mentioned before that the defence budget was announced going back last week. We talked about it around the dining room table. We got Dr. John Bruni onto it. He's a great resource for a program like the Court of Public Opinion when you're talking about national and international things, including, of course, defence. 50 billion we currently spend. The Defence Minister has announced that we will be spending an extra 5 billion over 4 years, and 50 billion, another 50 billion over 10 years, making our defence budget $100 billion. Now, John Bruni shed some very interesting light on all of this. According to Neil James, who is a great army man, the Defence Association, I think he heads up, he said for every dollar we spend on defence, every dollar, we spend $7.50 on welfare, $5 on health and $5 on education, but $1 on defence. And if you lose your country, and ask any Aboriginal, I mean, you can lose your country quite easily if you can't defend your borders. If you lose your country, it doesn't matter about health and education. You're a dead duck. Neil James also said that the big problem was without national service, we just don't have people. And he blames a lack of patriotic spirit. Coming up to Anzac Day tomorrow, it's interesting to ponder his comments. We just don't have people who seem to care about defending the country. It's almost like a whole generation of people. I'd go to war tomorrow if I had to defend this country. God, I would.
Can I put a question to you?
Sure.
The number of people that we are bringing into this country, as you've just said, are they going to be patriotic? I don't think so.
They would have no truck whatsoever with
I think the percentage of people born in Australia now is very low. I think it was something like 33% born in Australia.
Yes.
We're asking these people to defend the country.
No. Well, no, I take your point, and I think it's a very, very good point. But if we start to take the things that we hold as precious, I'm hoping we hold them as precious, if we start to take these things for granted, like everybody in the world enjoys the things we enjoy. No. A lot of people died so that we could. And that's why we have Anzac Day and should always honour and respect the day and the people. The people who went out there and gave everything so that we could have this life. But people are not drawn to a career in defence. And Dr. John Bruni agrees. No people. No people. Doesn't matter how many shiny toys you've got, how many tanks, and you know, we've got 6 nuclear submarines. Terrific, lovely new toys. And they tell us we'll you know, maybe have more than that, I don't know. I think it's 6 submarines. But we won't have any crew. Anyone to crew them, man them. With the Collins-class submarine, it's long been commented on that we could only ever have 1 boat in the water at a time because we didn't have a crew for more than 1 boat. There's room on Friday around the dining room table to talk a lot more about this. We'd better start giving a damn, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't know what's going on with Crime Stoppers. I think it's a great concept. They've long been the front line of policing in our community. Now, the chair of Crime Stoppers has resigned after backing an amalgamation with Crime Stoppers International. Nothing wrong with that, but it was then revealed that Crime Stoppers International is now controlled by a pornography channel, Pornhub and some others. Did you hear this, Pete?
No.
Fascinating. What a waste of a fantastic resource and network and reputation. I mean, I can't imagine what Pornhub and Crime Stoppers would have in common. Well, what's happening here? Why would they do that? Why would Crime Stoppers allow that to happen? Now, with our local Crime Stoppers, I don't know. I've got no idea what's happening there. Nigel Smart, the footballer, was he a good footballer, Pete?
Very good.
Very good footballer. Okay. Well, he's worked in a host of not-for-profits over the years. The not-for-profits make enough money, of course, to pay various CEOs $300,000 a year. He was always in a CEO position. They are, of course, profitable for the people who work for them. Now, I have tried to no avail for weeks to get Nigel on jeremycordeaux.com on Friday morning. I'll try again for this Friday morning. I don't know. Could this be the reason? It's certainly controversial. Speaking of controversy, Brad Banducci, head of Woolworths, appearing before a Senate committee. You may have seen grabs on the 6 o'clock news. Fascinating. He was asked a simple question. What is your company's return on capital? And he couldn't or wouldn't answer the question. Now, he is paid $8.4 million a year to head this huge company, multifaceted company. Now, I wouldn't expect him to be across what went through this checkout or that checkout, but this is pretty basic. What's your return on capital? Interesting. Well, some would say bizarre. He wanted to talk about return on investment. Return on investment. Now, it depends on how you look at it. which you think is the more valid? Return on capital or return on investment? What's the difference? Well, return on capital is simply the return on the investment made by the shareholder in the company. Return on investment is what you get when you take into account the borrowings and the losses and other variables throughout the financial year. I would think that is a very good, accurate kind of figure. But I think in his position he would be quoting the one that best suited him, which is only reasonable. Anyway, he's leaving in a few months, July I think. But the funny thing that came out of it all really was the fact that I think it was basically the Greens senator was in high dudgeon about the whole thing, and he talked about he didn't want any spin or bullshit from this guy. You know, it's not the way you expect senators in a parliamentary inquiry to talk, really. But nevertheless, he is one of the Greens, and he threatened this guy with putting him in jail if he didn't answer the question. Contempt of Parliament. They can do that. You know, you can't be in contempt of Parliament. If I were to say things a bit closer to the bone than I already say, you can, and it can work in radio or as we are on Facebook and podcasting as well, and certainly around the dining room table. If you say something that is contemptuous of the Parliament, they can put you in jail. It has happened.
So I can't say they're totally incompetent?
Let's say it anyway.
Well, I said it.
I could use the rest. Have I got a moment more?
Yeah.
Aboriginals negotiating a treaty in Victoria. I'd love to talk to you about this tomorrow. I also wanted, not tomorrow, but Friday, I would also love to talk to you about Lake Eyre, which is an enormous problem. You know, the Aboriginals have taken over various important landmarks, tourist resorts, and I don't believe that they are functioning to any advantage of Australia. Maybe some Aboriginals, I don't know, can't tell you that. But Ayers Rock, or Uluru as they call it, and I'm quoting perhaps the most recent scandalous acquisition by the Aboriginals, which was Mount Warning up on the north coast of New South Wales. Very popular walking place and photographic spot, and now you are not allowed, white people are not allowed there, which is racist, and white women or black women are not allowed on Mount Warning. Now this is a free country, and we are an intelligent country. We're a privileged country, and we should not tolerate this nonsense, and that we hand over these landmarks or tourist spots when black or white we can all enjoy. Hand them over to the Aboriginals, and they are being managed in what I would describe as a very racist manner. Now what they're planning for Lake Eyre is just ridiculous. We talk about it tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow's Anzac Day, so we're not going to be doing a program, but certainly on Friday we'll be doing that. But let me tell you about this treaty negotiation which is going on in Victoria, as reported in the Herald Sun, which you can probably Google or check yourself. This is what they want, the Aboriginals in Victoria have on the table in exchange for a treaty. They want interest-free loans from the government, interest-free loans to buy houses or a business or something, interest-free. You ever had an interest-free loan, Pete?
No.
No. I never had an interest-free loan. Interest-free loans from the government. That, of course, means the people, the taxpayer. They don't want to pay rates or taxes on anything. They don't want any land, no land or property tax. An exemption from all stamp duties. And no HEX fees. So let me get this right. You, the Aboriginal people, want privileges and advantages simply because you're black. Or you claim Aboriginality. I don't exactly know how to describe it. But you want a different and better deal based on nothing more than race. Now this is racist. Racism, pure and simple. This is precisely why so many people voted against the Voice. We are all equal. Everyone gets the same deal. Okay? We are already on a slippery slope. There are opportunities and discounts and advantages and courtesies already given to Aboriginal people, which don't seem to please them. They haven't worked. I don't know why we bothered. If it doesn't work, stop doing it. I mean, just stop repeating, making the same mistake over and over again, for heaven's sake. Oh, Pete, I don't know where this country is going.
Well, it's not looking good, Jeremy, I don't think.
This is the day back in 1792. Happy birthday, by the way, if you're having a birthday or a wedding anniversary. 1792, the hymn of the French Revolution, the national anthem of France, the Marseillaise, was composed by Claude Delisle. 1792. It is, I think, I kind of like the Star-Spangled Banner. God Save the Queen is nice. There are a few. Don't know about Australia's national anthem. Don't know about that. But the Marseillaise is the most stirring piece of music. Da-da-da-da-da. I better stop. Sir Robert Menzies becomes the Australian Prime Minister for the first time. That was in 1939. Wow. Shirley MacLaine, 1934. I love Shirley MacLaine. Shirley MacLaine was almost my mother-in-law. Was she? Yeah, almost my mother-in-law. 1934. I had her on the show a few times too. Not as my mother-in-law, you understand. Shirley MacLaine, 1934, American actress and mystic. Trouble with Harry, Irma la Douce, Sweet Charity, Being There, Steel Magnolias, Terms of Endearment. The one I really liked, not written here, but the one I loved her in was The Apartment with Jack Lemmon. Anyway, she was born in Richmond, Virginia, 1934, still going strong. Estee Lauder, 2004, American entrepreneur, Estee Lauder Cosmetics, dies of a heart attack, or it was cardiopulmonary arrest, actually. Same thing, I suspect. Or a heart attack is what, Pete? Cardio infarction.
Pulmonary is the lungs. So it was a combination of heart and lungs.
Oh, dear. Well, at 97, I mean, something's going to take you away. Australia and Russia break diplomatic relations in 1954. That would have been with the Petrov thing, wouldn't it? Petrov thing. 1184, the Greeks. Oh, yeah. The Greeks entered Troy using the Trojan horse. Just let me through the gates. Let me give you a gift. Beware Greeks bearing gifts. Hence the saying. This day in 1184. The film Crocodile Dundee, starring Paul Hogan and Linda Kozlowski, premieres in Australia. Highest grossing film of the year in the United States of America. Yet I am told that not one of the backers of that film, backers meaning the people who put the money in, not one of them ever got his money back. Something sounds wrong about that. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger is inaugurated as the 265th Pope, named Pope Benedict. Well, I guess Pope Ratzinger hasn't got a good ring to it. That was in 2005. And he's still doing well. I think he's the only Pope, only Pope I've ever heard of who resigned, handed back his commission. Wallace Simpson, American divorcee who married King Edward the 5, 6, 7, 8, married King Edward the 8th, abdicated his throne to Mary. She dies at 89 on this day in 1986. William Defoe, the English novelist, dies at 70. In 1731, Daniel Defoe. Winston Churchill, knighted by Queen... was that yesterday or was that today? Winston Churchill, knighted by Queen Elizabeth II. Oh no, I was talking to you yesterday about Menzies getting the Order of the Garter. Yeah. Was it the Order of the Garter or the Order of the Bath?
Garter. Oh, God.
Look, it wouldn't matter. Just take either one. You can't go wrong. Am I running out of battery?
Something's going on.
Something's going on, he tells me, so I'd better leave it there. The last one, 1969, Paul McCartney says there's no truth to the rumour that he's dead. Thank you very much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. We'll see you on Friday. Have a very peaceful, quiet, reverent Anzac Day. Believe in yourself. Peter and I will be back. Bye for now.